Hello everybody, we're finally back with a new video. Hi there, Happy! And this is Bella, the African Grey, and Happy, the green cheek conure, of course. And today's video is going to be on... Oh, you can see our messy washroom at the background, but that's okay. We're just doing laundry because we're all human. But it's going to be about safe cooking with parrots. So obviously, parrots are very sensitive to toxic fumes. It's more than sensitive actually. So many of the fumes that we produce when we're cooking, especially in high heat, can be lethal to them, which means it can kill them within just minutes. And sometimes, depending on the degree of exposure, it means that they can be exposed to it for just even a minute or so, and then 4 hours later they'll progressively have worsening breathing issues, and then you will find them very unfortunately passed away in their cage many hours later. And this is something that has been becoming more and more of a problem with barbecues happening during the summers, and also with anybody who enjoys kind of high heat cooking with meat to have caramelization or anything like that. This is a very useful video to watch. So a very easy but simple tip that we do is we actually have a post-it on our fridge that tells us the exact temperature that you can't go above with any cookware really. So the upper limit is 575 Fahrenheit, which is 300 degrees Celsius, and this is with Teflon. And just to be safe, the highest that we ever go is 500 Fahrenheit. And I know that a lot of cookwares, especially nowadays, will specify if they don't contain Teflon products, but the problem is you can never be sure. And I'll give you an example. This is our oven. Our oven does not come with a self-cleaning feature. However, it doesn't mean that it's safe, and the reason why I talk about the feature specifically is because more recently there has been a lot of self-cleaning ovens, such that the newer models just come with that feature, and sometimes it's scheduled in so that you wouldn't even know it. And a lot of the birds have unfortunately passed away with the purchasing of the self-cleaning or more newer ovens. And first of all, if you have a self-cleaning feature, please do not use it with your birds in the room. The fumes that it'll produce is very, very toxic. And any products that contain any sort of, any sort of non-stick features will have some sort of Teflon or something that's going to produce fume that's going to be really bad for you. Excuse my conure screaming. I might have to put her on the shoulder for the rest of the video. So for an example, when you buy a stove, another thing that's really important to check for besides an oven is basically the stove components. So you can see that this part is usually specified, which means they'll usually tell you which this part's made of, and over here it just says like steel, so it's not going to have heat sensitivity. But surprisingly, the catcher that comes at below over here, so that if you spill anything it catches it before it hits the oven below, will always have some sort of a non-stick coating applied, which means it has a Teflon component. So essentially the thing that I'm trying to say here is no matter what you purchase, whether it be a stove top or like an oven, it's always going to have some sort of a Teflon or Teflon-like material associated with it. So the best thing is to just not go over 300 degrees Celsius or 500 Fahrenheit with those things. Another thing that is very, very important to mention is that when you first buy an oven, you have to go through a burning stage. And what I mean by that is it's called a burn off professionally, and you basically keep the oven on high temperatures for many hours through maybe 3 or 4 days to make sure that all the toxic coating is burnt off. Because when you buy an oven or a stove or what have you, it'll always come with the initial coating that produces toxic fumes when it's heated for the first time at any temperature. So when you buy an oven, then you can board your birds, or you can ask your friend for a favor, or sometimes the manufacturers will do it for you, where you just keep it going at high heat for as long as the machine will tolerate it, and you do this every day for about 3 to 4 days until you can't smell anything toxic anymore. And even after you do that, if you did it outside your home, I would suggest boarding your birds and then trying out the stove without your birds in the home, and then making sure that you don't smell anything when the heat is turned on, and go to the maximum heat setting and see if no fumes come out of it. And I really can't stress this enough. And once you have done all that, then you can bring the birds home. Another thing is, like I said, there's no such thing as too safe. So when we cook in the house, because we live in a small apartment, we will have obviously the stovetop fan on to the maximum setting. We also turn all the washroom fans on, and then we keep the windows open if the weathers allow it, to make sure that none of the fumes at any temperature reaches the birds. And a really good way to check that is try toasting garlic, or even better, cumin seeds in your kitchen with oil at a low temperature. Go into where your bird's room is. Of course, this is better with 2 people, because there should be 1 person in the kitchen and 1 person in the bird room. And the person in the bird room should have no sense that there's smelly garlic or cumin seeds toasting on your stove. They should be able to smell nothing, and that is really the best way to see if the ventilation in your house allows for your birds to be safe while you're cooking. And this is our very old mini oven over here. Another really good tip that I have for you guys is, if you don't feel safe using the oven, I know that I definitely don't feel safe using our big oven, because this is our rental apartment and we just simply don't know what's on there. We tried contacting the manufacturer, they weren't able to tell us exactly what the oven was made out of, so we just didn't feel safe using it. So we have our mini oven that we had for the past 5 years, and we know it's safe. We have used it in the same home as the birds before safely. And obviously this is less surface area, so the amount of toxic fumes that it can produce is smaller than, say, a full-size oven. So if you guys don't feel safe with your bigger oven, I would definitely recommend a mini oven. That being said, you still have to go through the burn off stage. You still have to make sure that you always stay below 500 Fahrenheit, or even better, we actually make it a rule to never go beyond 400 Fahrenheit when we bake. And that means, yes, limiting some of the things that you can bake in there, but for the safety of our birds, I think it is totally worth it. Alright, so the reason why I'm showing you guys the freezer is to show you how we things that we do cook within the temperature limitations that we have. So like I said, because the temperature limit is at 500 Fahrenheit or 300 degrees Celsius, you are not going to be able to really grill or get a good char on your meats. So that's just going to be impossible. It's just not going to reach the caramelization temperature. And I'm just going to close my freezer just because I do have a lot of different food in here. That being said, we still really like savory foods. I have a Korean background, and my husband is Ukrainian Polish, so we do love to eat good meat. We love things that are flavorful. So what we do is, in our freezer we have marinated meats, as you can see over here in our freezer, that we can thaw overnight. And the nice thing about marinades, especially those really saucy marinades, is that you really do get that face full of flavor without having to char your meat, which is really, really nice. So learning how to do different kind of marinades was really a process that we went through when we realized all the limitations that we had in not being able to really reach that charring temperature of our meats. The other thing that I should tell you guys is, basically, Ratty is the name of our dog, by the way, is cooking fats. So if you cook really fatty meat, or even just fat, let's say like bacon, so burnt fat releases a fume that is actually lethal to birds, and that is something that a lot of people don't know. So if you're cooking bacon, please be mindful that you actually can't burn your bacon. Some of the things that you can do with this is you can use the microwave to cook your bacon, or just be careful to cook your bacon and not burn the fat. That is so very important, and this is specific to animal fat, so like meat fat. So you really don't want to burn your meats here. That is so very important. And obviously, without me having to say that, you guys know that don't have your birds in your kitchen or anywhere near your kitchen when you cook. Besides the toxic fumes, there's also the issue of them, going into boiling water, drowning in the sink. There's so many things that can happen, so many tragic accidents that have happened in the kitchen that can really hurt your birds. Another fun tip that I do have for you guys is pickles. So we actually pickle a lot of our own vegetables. The reason why we do that is sometimes you come back from work, you are hungry, and you're really looking for something flavorful, and you could be really tempted to just throw a piece of meat or bacon on your pan just to have something really quick to eat. And pickles are actually a really good way to kind of satisfy like that craving for that strong flavor without being tempted to use your pan right away when you come back home. And when you're perhaps hungry and not really thinking clearly through all the safety precautions that you can take, that you have to take when you have your birds. And the last thing I want to add, of course, is self-love. So just because you have your birds doesn't mean you have to sacrifice everything in life. We obviously spend a lot of time, a lot of effort and finances on our birds. And it's okay that if you really crave that barbecue meat, treat yourself and then go take yourself out to a barbecue dinner. I mean, we do it, and you really don't have to feel guilty about it. And if anything, it's gonna help you be more happier. And I know that some people who really have like things that they eat that they enjoy sometimes come to resent their birds a little bit because of the things that they can't cook anymore. So really allowing yourself to treat yourself once in a while prevents that from happening, and allows you to really fully enjoy your bird's company, which is so very important. All right, and that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching. I'm thinking of walking my dog very soon, but anyway, watching, and I'll see you guys very soon. Okay, bye.